Lesson 75 is about changing improper fractions to whole or mixed numbers. Now, there's two different types of fractions that we've and that we've seen before. We have proper fractions, which are fractions less than 1, a normal fraction that you have seen before, such as 3/4, or 2/3, or 1/3, or 7/10. Those are all proper fractions because it's a part of a whole. We also have improper fractions which are equal to 1 or greater than 1, such as 5/5 or 10/10, or if you were to even have 15/7, 15/7, that is an improper fraction because the numerator is larger or equal to than the denominator. So this is a great example, and this might be very, very smart to write down. Less than 1 is a proper fraction, so that would be like 3/4. This is equal to 1 when you have the same numerator and same denominator, 4/4. And when you have an improper fraction also greater than 1, which means your numerator is larger than your denominator. Now, we have seen these before, and we've already done facts practice, and we've also been taught these as division problems, which is exactly what they are. So technically, you've already learned these before. You're just knowing, and we're just recognizing them as improper fractions, meaning they're not correct ways to write fractions, and they must be changed. So we use it as a division problem. If I were to look at 5/4, I'm going to say 5 divided by 4. Well, that's not going to be an even number, so it's going to be a whole number, so it's going to be a mixed number. 4 can go into 5 one whole time. I'm just doing this off to the side. It goes in one whole time, and I would do 5 minus 4, which is a remainder of 1. That becomes my numerator. My denominator stays the same, so it becomes 1 1/4. That's as simple as we've already learned it before, so this should be very quick to recognize and quick to put into practice. Because now we're going to be seeing problems. We're going to be adding fractions or subtracting. Actually, more than it's actually always going to be adding fractions whenever you're going to add fractions together and have an improper fraction and have to convert it into a mixed number or another whole number. So we're going to go ahead and look at our first example, which is actually example 2. We're going to skip example 1. We have 3/5 plus 4/5. Remember, when I add fractions, I just add the numerator. So 3 plus 4 is 7. Denominator stays the same. So 7/5. That's an improper fraction. Why? Well, because the numerator is larger than my denominator, which means it's greater than 1. So 5 can go into 7 one whole time, and I'll actually show the work here just for you to be able to visualize this. I'm dividing. 5 goes into 7 one whole time minus 5. My remainder is 2, and so it becomes 1, and I'll use my remainder and my divisor to make my fraction 1 2/5. And that would be what 7/5 is equal to. 1 2/5. All right, now we also have example 3. I want you to go ahead and try this and see if you can do it by yourself. It should be pretty simple since we're dealing with halves. I have 2½ plus 2½. If I just start with these first, I know 1/2 plus 1/2 is a whole, and 2 plus 2 is 4. So now I'm looking at 4 plus one other whole from the half to the half is 5. So 2½ plus 2½ is 5 plus another 2½, which equals 7½. Another way that I could look at this is 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. And then I have 1/2 plus 1/2 plus another half is 1½. So 6 plus 1½ would still be 7½. There's a lot of different ways that you could approach this. Drawing pictures maybe would also help. If I were to draw pictures of 2 whole circles and then draw 3 halves, and being able to kind of picture them together is equaling 1½. So I want you to go ahead and try the practice set together. We'll go ahead and try the practice set. We'll go over your answers in class. We'll also be probably doing some races on these since we've already been doing facts practice with improper fractions. And we'll definitely check for better understanding. Thank you so much for paying attention.